I would like to call upon our special speaker, the Vice Chancellor of Central University of Hyderabad, the Vice Chancellor, Mr. B.J. Rao. Please join us on the dais, sir. And also, I would like to call upon Dr. S. Srikanta Swami, Senior Consultant and Expert, National Assessment and Accreditation Council. And to do the honors, we have Mr. Srikant Sinha, CEO, Telangana Academy for Skill and Knowledge. And to do the honors, I would request B.J. Rao, sir, to moderate the session.
Welcome all of you to this very important and interesting session. Quality accreditation and ranking of higher educational institutions. This is a fairly loaded topic, and we have two esteemed panelists, and I would also join the panel to air my views. There are interesting sub-issues in this topic. I would request Dr. Srikant Swamigaru to pick up one of the sub-themes and elaborate on it.
Respected moderator, then my co-speaker, Professor Srikant Sinha, and all distinguished guests who are here, and my friends who are participating in this session. I would like to concentrate more on this assessment and accreditation because I am representing the NAC. Friends, as all of you know, even in Telangana, we have brought out two reports from NAC. One is called the State-Wise Analysis of Accreditation Report, wherein we have given a true picture regarding the number of institutions which have been accredited at Telangana. I think with respect to the government colleges, they have done extremely well. Whereas in the others, I think my real appreciation, and they have taken it very, very seriously under the leadership of our Commissioner, Naveen Mittal sir. I think the vibration is there. We met the minister also there in Delhi, wherein it was released, and we brought to his notice that there is a need to make everyone to come for accreditation. Though the National Assessment Accreditation started as early as 1994, influenced by the recommendations made by 1986 policy, almost 27 years NAC has been there in this human task of assessing the higher education institutions. We have got different categories of universities, we have got different categories of colleges. Among the universities, I think deemed universities, I think they are doing better. Next comes the Central University, as per one, whatever the analysis that we have done, performance analysis of higher education. And then similarly with respect to the colleges, except a state like Telangana, in other states, I think private colleges are doing better. There are various reasons for it, but here you have taken it very seriously to see that infrastructure should be developed very well. They have done that. Even faculty should also be provided. That care also has been taken. Whereas in the other states, still there are many places in which the in-charge principals are there. Therefore, they do not know whether they have to take up the responsibility of going for accreditation. With all these 27 years of exercise, with lot of transparency, lot of robustness, in 2017, we brought change with respect to the assessment manual and under the name Revised Accreditation Framework. Before that, I think the peer team members, they had a lot of freedom, lot of control they had. After 2017, we wanted to reduce that type of control because institutions may not be very comfortable with that kind of control. Therefore, almost 70% of the metrics are called quantitative metrics, and the remaining 30% comes under the qualitative metrics. The 70% of these quantitative metrics, they are all assessed based upon your SSR, whatever you are going to submit to the NAC. Therefore, almost 70% is done, and only 30% will be remaining, for which the peer team members will be sent to the higher education institutions. We keep 7 criteria starting from curricular aspects, and the last one is institutional values and also best practices. I think a lot of changes are happening, but we are never able to cover only some 23% or so with all our, exactly, around 23%. Therefore, many institutions have not come forward because of various reasons. In some place, they thought that the fees, what they are supposed to pay for to come for accreditation is more. I think we have reduced that. In some places, they said entry point is 30% if you are going to qualify under the quantitative matrix, then only we are eligible. That difficulty is there, therefore we have brought down to 25% only. If they submit the SSR, upon the 70% of the quantitative matrix, if they can get 25, I think they are qualified to come for the next step. I think that process is there. I am not going to touch upon the details. And to have a cross-check about the documents, whatever you are supporting, document is very, very important. Documents are given more weightage. Most of the higher educations, they do a lot of work, but they are not able to document the whole thing. That's why many experts will say in India we do a lot of good work. We are not able to maintain with a lot of documents. Whereas in some other countries, they start with the documentation, then they are going to do a lot of work. I think there should be a paradigm shift. I request here that each one of you, whatever the activity you are going to do it, you have to maintain documentation and you have to upload the documents, which are very, very important in your own portal. And without proper evidence, it is not possible for you to get the expected grade as well as the expected CGPA. I think here 3 or 4 points I wanted to highlight why many higher education institutions are not coming forward. One is curricular aspect. Most of the colleges, they do not have much hold, whereas universities can bring a lot of changes in bringing the curricular, changes in the curriculum development or curriculum designing. And only few institutions which are very familiar with respect to innovation, they are doing, and rest of the others are simply following. And to our notice, I think curriculum, whatever some of the universities, not all, I am not generalizing, they have taken from the other universities as it is that they are doing it. That may not be correct. Therefore, I expect that your curriculum should be customized, keeping the state expectations, and your curriculum should be customized, keeping the expectations of the students, and curriculum should also be structured, keeping the expectations of the other stakeholders. Then the second point, the quality of teaching and learning is not up to the mark. I think after COVID, everybody wants to say, Zoom link we are sending, you learn through that, participate that. I think yesterday also we debated on that. I think it is very difficult to substitute a very good teacher. I think teacher should be a compendium of many virtues. And if teacher is there, I think all technological aspect and technical aspect automatically follows. But we are in the technological era. Without the dependency to technology, we may not do quality work. And efficiency and effectiveness may not be up to the mark. Therefore, we have to accept the technology. But how much of technology, where we have to do it, how we have to carry on with respect to teaching, learning and evaluation, there is a great responsibility, dear friends, on our part. I have been there almost 48 years in teaching, almost 35 years in research. Still, I am a learner. Therefore, I feel that how best we can do it. Therefore, teaching and learning, we have given more weightage. Whichever the university or a college where they have taken this teaching, learning and evaluation very seriously, they get more marks and they are having the probability of getting a better grade. I think teaching and learning, mechanically it is happening. I am from the teacher education background. Pedagogy and andragogy, yesterday also we discussed. Without that, I think teaching may not be very effective. According to me, teaching is different from that of instruction. Teaching is different from that of lecturing. And teaching is altogether a wholesome, holistic process wherein you have to empower the learner, identifying the abilities of the students and how best you are going to transform in that way your teaching should result. But most of us, we think that teaching means preparing them for the examination. That is not correct. I think many tutorials are there where they are going to learn and they can do it. Why should they come to the university? Why should they come to the colleges? I think this question is applicable to me as well as to all of you. I think you have to take care of that. Then the third important aspect is with respect to the research. Even for Telangana, we have brought out a quality fact sheet in which the top 20 metrics where the Telangana higher education institutions are doing very well, we have highlighted. And at the same time, you also have highlighted which are the bottom 20 metrics in which that they are not doing very well, we have highlighted. Among this, I think one important aspect is about research. Research is not carried on with the true spirit. Research culture is not there in some of the universities. Therefore, there is a need to develop research culture. But hats off to national, instead of national importance, they have got a beautiful research culture. Some of the universities have got beautiful research culture. But in total, if you take now, we are running research as a program. But without developing the research culture, I think the spirit of research may not be there. And the research bent of mind may not be there. And they may not be able to contribute much. That's why, though hundreds and thousands of students have done their PhDs, if you analyze what are the outcomes, where exactly their findings and conclusions are going to be accepted or applicable, a big question mark is there. Therefore, I appeal through this august audience that whenever you are just introducing a research program, don't introduce for the sake of competing with the other universities where they have got. You have to see in what way your research program is going to be quite different. Therefore, how do you monitor the research program, coursework, how do you monitor? The progress report, how do you monitor? Colloquium, how are you going to monitor? And even in Western countries, there are committees known as the watchdog committees. They suggest these are some of the areas for another 2 years, another 5 years where you have to do it. Whereas in Indian scenario, students have given too much of autonomy where they select some topics which are not going to have any kind of application. With the result, they get their degrees, they get promotion, but what happened to the application aspect, a big question mark. Since NAC, when it is going for that, we ask them how many patents through your research. What is the ratio between the faculty members and the number of guides who are there, and guides and students, that ratio, a lot of things we are going to ask. Therefore, this is one important area. I appeal to all of you, please see that research cannot be neglected. Then under the research now, research outcomes should also be specifically mentioned. Like any other course, when we speak about the outcome of the program, similarly we should be able to discuss about the outcome of the research programs. What are the 3 years a student is going to spend? What is that you are expecting from the student after completing 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? Writing skills. We are insisting upon publication of 2 papers in a refereed journal, but still we are not happy. Then some students have been guided to publish in the care-listed journals. Even once UGC announced 3,000 to 5,000 journals as recognized one, and one fine morning it said, no, we are not happy about those, we are going to withdraw those things. I think some of these issues are there. Therefore, how do you develop academic writing among your PhD scholars by means of which it is possible for them to publish their articles in a good journal, refereed journals? Then the patent aspect also, many of them are not very clear, except the professors and the students of IIT, IIM. I think they are all comfortable. Even we are very proud that where good universities are there even in India. They can be role models for others also. Therefore, the academic writing, I think we have neglected that. Then the other part, especially in the science research now, laboratories are not there. Still students have been admitted. Then students will say we are not able to do quality research work because laboratory equipments are not there. In such situations, NAC also suggests, why can't you go for collaboration? Just now we have witnessed 2 important MOs being signed. Therefore, there is a need to have collaborations within India, across the state, across the departments, wherein you also can emphasize too much on the interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary research. I think that needs to be done. Then collaborations, as I mentioned, and MO also I mentioned, and encouraging the people to take up the research. Many faculty members are not coming to take up the research. In one of the IIMs, it so happened, when the visiting team went and visited, they told everything is fine with your institution. With your institution, everything is fine, but number of publications are less. The director told, sir, give me an opportunity. Next time when you come, we are going to improve. Therefore, they announced the seed money for the publication. If you publish an article in a refereed journal, Springer or whatever it may be, it will be given 1 lakh. Like that, some incentives have been given, made the people to write the articles. Hitherto they were saying no time, etc. Because of incentive, the same professors come forward and number of publications have increased. I think then the last point I wanted there for research culture, research point. Last one is about what are the values, because without values, quality cannot be there. Percentages cannot speak about quality, the values. Even the infrastructure may not speak about it. Therefore, ultimately, values should be given importance because you know what is happening. TV you observe, newspaper you observe. Somewhere we feel that we are neglecting the value component, the peace component, global peace component. Therefore, I personally request that that's why NAC has kept this criteria known as institutional values, and also about the other part known as the best practices. What are your best practices? How would you showcase your best practices? These are some of the issues I am highlighting. You are all doing. By my concluding point is, how do you come forward in order to prove yourself as a quality institution? Quality is the responsibility of both internal and external people who are involved. Therefore, internal mechanism and external mechanism both are very important. I think this is what I want to share. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. My request is, I think we should be very crisp and pointed and make some insightful points so that we can go with some take-homes. I would now request Srikant Sinhaji make his observations.
Thank you very much, Professor Rao. Neither I'm a doctor, neither I'm a professor, but still I'm here. Probably the only reason is both are Srikanta. He's Srikanta, Professor Srikanta, and I'm Srikant. So maybe that's the reason I'm here. But I think more importantly, responding to what Sir has said, I think why we are not doing research. We talk about our placements, but have we ever spoken about the research being done by an institution? Do we say that this year so many research papers, so many patents have come out from our institutions? Do we ever talk about it? I think the only university has spoken about it was MIT University, and you can understand the journey, the last 15 years journey of MIT University, where they were and where they have reached. I think it's time that we give importance to these things. There is a sword hanging on our heads as educators that you have to finish the curriculum, right? And this was there probably before NEP came into picture. And with the growth in the education sector itself, with the institutions coming in, multiplicity of courses coming in, multiplicity of subjects that are coming in, now it was STEM, now it is STEAM, and God knows what will be in the future. Because today whatever we are teaching may not suffice the needs of the future. And that's the reason things have to change. I think in all our universities as HODs, we are very happy having our own labs. But do you realize that India could not reach anywhere in nanotechnologies because we did not have interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary kind of facilities working together? The ranking also look at, do you have this much space over there in your lab? This is the student ratio. All these things which are there are something which we need to relook at it, given in the fact of NEP, where you have multiple entry and exit points, right? You would have multiple number of students coming in and going out. Yesterday we discussed about it. Where is our frameworks, recognition frameworks, etc., going to cater to this? And that is where today the reality is. My thing is that in case if we need to make institutions of eminence, we have to give importance to these things. Secondly, like being a part of the task force for the central government on animation and visual effects, etc., one of the recommendations we have made is something what Singapore does. Right in the 6th grade itself, you identify what are the attitudes and capabilities of the students. What is there, do some kind of a psychometric test to understand whether they are made up for research or not. Today, unfortunately, what is happening is people who are heading for research are people who could not get into the IT industry. And that is the reality of the situation. So what will we get? Garbage in, garbage out. They will probably look at subjects which are not that relevant. Industry keeps on waiting that they will be able to implement the research being done in academic institutions. They want the research as of yesterday. While the academic institutions will take time for it because there are multiple things and regards for it. So how do we find the midway in between? Industry has to come forward and help with those research. They are the ones who are giving those problems. How do you take that forward? And the best part in India is you don't have to go out for hunting for problems. They are already there. I think NIRF is a very good method of creating a benchmarking. Today in Telangana, of course, if you look at the report, most of the institutions are ranked on that. But thing is that we need to also look at, because if you look at the future where we see a problem every day on the roads, right? Ambulances are blocked by traffic. Tomorrow we are talking about autonomous drones actually, and there are drones today which transport up to 100 kgs coming into picture. But this is not covered as part of our curriculum. We need research in these areas. And that is where we need to probably move. Seeing the growth of higher education, seeing the need for research happening, and probably that's my 2 cents on this topic, sir.
So, thank you very much for your views, both of you. I want to stir the plot a little bit. I want to firstly say that India, a country of 75 years of young age, has done extremely well in education and technology. We are the 5th largest economy in the world now. For the rupee spent, for the dollar spent, India has given the best in the world. Our problem is not the product. Our problem is the scaling up. We have not invested enough for the size of our country. Had we invested 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, we would have been globally the topmost. This is the best kept secret in our system. Per rupee spent, we have done the best in the world in many, many walks of life. In science, in technology, in strategic missions, we make the best satellite images even today. We probably make most cost-effective missiles even today. So therefore, India as a country, 75 years young country, we have done extremely well for so few resources that we started with. So that is our past, that is our nation. The real question is, are we doing well enough for the global higher-ups? That's the real question, and there we do not seem to be doing that well, because other countries are climbing up the ladder much better than us. This is a fact. Now, in the session that we are discussing today, ranking of educational institutions, it's a very important topic. But remember, it is a topic where education is being ranked. Education intrinsically cannot be ranked, because education is a learning process. It's the education with which you make a student into a scholar. You cannot rank the scholars. You cannot say a good scholar, a bad scholar at the end of the day. So in any case, education being an enterprise globally, it has to be quantified. That's the need. So therefore, we have evolved our own quantification methods, as did other countries. We have NIRF, we have NAC, we have NBA, and now we are thinking of a sort of a conglomerate of single ranking system, etc., etc. Ranking is perhaps required. But in the current ranking system, there are some serious flaws, in my opinion. What does the current ranking system does? Evaluates what you have in terms of your resources, your infrastructure. Teaching infrastructure, 30%. Research infrastructure, 30%. Outcome is only 20%. And then 10% for how the world perceives you. And the 10% of how you outreach through the world. What is the best parameter in this? Outcome. What is the outcome of your education? That is only 20%. What you have, what you can give, resources, is all 60%. So if you are rich, well-decorated person, you are well-marked. Even if you are not performing well. So in fact, ranking should be how well you perform with how little resource you have. That's India. That is truly India. Because India always does jugaad. Jugaad is in us. So We need resources. You need to have good teaching classes. You need to have good teachers. You need to have good digital libraries. You need to have good research infrastructure. All that is good. But with all this, what is your outcome? Are you producing Nobel material, Nobel-like material? Are you producing scholars who are ready for jobs? Are you producing passionate teachers? Are you producing thought leaders? Are you producing entrepreneurial skills in our minds? That's the outcome. That we are not measuring that well, and that premium is very little. I'm sorry, I think I'm right. We are only giving 20% to that. We are giving 60% to how much you are decorated. There is a serious flaw there. Outcome must be given highest premium. Look at Raman effect. Raman, Sir C.V. Raman. Sir C.V. Raman did his Nobel Prize winning work at his home with his home-built machine, which is like this, with almost no grants, no institution. He did the outcome which got him Nobel Prize. So if he were to be ranked in NIRF, he will get 0 in infrastructure. He'll get 0 in research, amenities, because his living room was his research lab. No NAC team will go there. But he did discover Raman effect, which gave him Nobel Prize outcome. You would get 100%, that's only 20 percentile. So he will fail in NIRF ranking. He was in pre-independent India, so nobody would have noticed him. Outreach was 0. Perception of C.V. Raman outside India was very little. Only a few friends knew, and they knew the effect of his discovery. So perception would have been 0. So Raman would have seriously failed in NIRF ranking and NAC ranking. I am sorry I have to say this. So therefore, we need to design truly India-specific, scholarly-oriented ranking method. Are we generating scholars with what little we have? How do we assess scholarliness? Do we have good methods to assess scholarliness? We don't have those. We need to innovate good methods. So while I agree that there is a need for a lot of skill development, good methods of analysis, NAC is only 20 percentile now in terms of penetration, even after how many years? 27 years. So we need to penetrate deeper so that people get, institutions get properly quantified. That is required. So both these approaches are required, but we need to be doing it differently. This is what my point is. So in all these methods that I have looked at, NAC, NIRF as well as board accreditation, serious changes are required which really assesses the quality of the mind, the output in terms of scholarliness, in terms of depth of knowledge, in terms of skills. This has to be amplified in our weightage. Unless we do this, we will only rank the bells and whistles, not the inside of it. This is my take home. I think if you seriously disagree, I am ready to discuss with you. But if you think that you are right, I am happy I am right. So I do not know how much time we have. I don't know whether we have time for 1 or 2 questions. Let us make it more lively, so not just one-way traffic. If there are 2 pressing questions, please come up with, but very sharp questions. Don't elaborate the question, just ask the question. Sir, only ask the question, no details.
Yeah, so my name is Dr. Bharat and I am from Vishwani Business School, Hyderabad. My pointed question to you is that somewhere we are little confused for 2 reasons. We talk about excellence and sometimes we talk about reach. For example, AICT UGC is trying to reach more and more people through this enhancing gross enrollment ratio, which currently is 27%. They are aiming around 40% by 2030. And that is the backdrop why UGC and AICT and everyone is saying digital education or online education or distance education is at par.
What is the question?
My question is, when we are talking about quality, how this initiative of UGC is going to help in our quality cause? Thank you.
Okay, good question. I will give a very crisp answer. India is a young country, both in terms of time of its existence as a free country as well as average age of the population. Now, the rest of the Western world, developed world is aging. So we need to generate a lot of knowledge resources in our population. That means your penetration of education power should be much higher. We are only 24-25%. If whole of India is educated, education is a pyramid. It's like this. If this pyramid is too large, you will have a lot of good top people. It's a distribution effect. If your distribution is large, you will have high achievers in higher number. If your distribution is small, statistically you will have few people performing high activities. We are 0 Nobel Prize now in the country, let's say. If your distribution is large, you will at least have 10, 20. We have to improve our distribution. Our gross enrollment ratio in the system should go deeper, at least 50, 60, 70%. Then, at least few numbers of very top deep leaders, thought leaders, Nobel laureates, etc. are very high innovators will come up. If your size of the sample is small, which it is now, you can't expect high stars. So it's a question of improving your distribution, your volume. High volume has the statistical power of generating high numbers. That's the secret. Any other question? One more question. Yes.
Good afternoon. Sir, straightforward my question. Why the very society that produced C.V. Raman is not able to produce C.V. Ramans in spite of so many resources, so much of modern awareness, and so much of such kind of resources available around?
That's the question.
Yes.
Very important question. Sir, you want to answer?
Probably say one thing. I think today our focus has changed in education. It is passing an exam, right? Today, everything is about passing an exam, and that's why today we are not able to produce C.V. Ramans, right? Because where is the research methodology? In fact, I keep on always joking, right? In our day and age, we used to play with Meccano, then mechanics, then Lego. Now everything has become let go. We don't create anything with our hands. Where are our students doing anything? When we were in schools, we used to play with, clay modeling, etc. Where are you creating that inquisitiveness in these students? If you ask us very frankly, as parents, when a child is there at home, we say, eat this is good for you. He comes to school, remember it because this will come in the exam, and there are tests where you check the rote learning memory of the student. When he comes to college, you say, do this question, this is important from an examination point of view. Where have you created the culture of asking questions? Where have you created the culture where people can start thinking differently, come up with solutions, come up with ideas which could be earth-shattering or changing the entire thing? Where? And that is where the challenge is today. Funding, etc. could be available. But then what are you going to create out of it unless and until, the acumen is there, as Sir said. Today, the biggest challenge is, and I have seen this multiple times, all institutions under TechU Fund have set up incubators, right? Especially in engineering colleges. You look at what they have created. They put an Arduino board or a Raspberry Pi. They have connected a couple of, sensors, IoT sensors along with it. They have put maybe 1 or 2 motors, created some 3D printed parts. So the solution is ready now, and then they start looking at problem. That is where the problem is. If we start doing that, I will do only what I do, you will never discover or do research in new things. That's my, thing from a complete outside point of view.
Thank you. Very short.
Yes. Sir, while appreciating your question, I think Sir C.V. Raman is no more, but his effect is there. His influence is there. His inspiration is there. I think that's why so much of expansion is happening in the area of science, in the area of space technology, in the area of oceanography. If you try to contact the scientists and find out the quantum of work, what they are doing, I think we should be proud of. That's why we say India is not like how it was earlier, And India is in the stage of competing with the other developed countries to prove that we are capable of doing it. I think that's my optimistic answer. And the other one, the inducing effect is so much. Even all over the globe, if you take now, how many number of the Nobel laureates are there? Do you think that they have not contributed? Do you think that simply they have been recognized? Like that, even in India, many people are contributing, they are recognizing. And in their own silent world, in IIT, IAC, and also in many of the universities, people are doing a lot of work, sir. Let us be optimistic and see that Sir C.V. Raman is influenced many people to carry on the research. Thank you.
One more short answer to that beautiful question is, we are educating our children too much. We are teaching them too much. That means you are overfeeding a child. Education should create hunger in the child. Instead of creating hunger, we are overfeeding the child. So there is no learning. In fact, we should not teach too much to the student. We should teach just enough so that the student can teach himself or herself. Just enough teaching so that the student will get so much passionate about what one is learning and he can teach himself. Once the student starts learning on his own, that is when the real education begins, not in the classroom. We are doing too much of classroom teaching and we are sending the child to tuitions also. That will kill the creativity. Because we know young children do beautiful painting at home. But once they start going to school, they stop painting. That is the proof that we are actually killing creativity in our overly educated systems. Thinking has stopped, creativity has stopped, content is getting fed, and you get degrees. Nothing is there, mind is not active, mind is not passionate. Obviously, Raman effect will not happen. So, at the end of the day, we need to just ignite the mind through whatever model of education we follow. Create interest in the children in what you are teaching. Teach them concepts. Show them the benefits of education by real examples. Then the student will get ignited. Students are intrinsically brighter than the teachers, in my opinion. So just create them some hunger in them. They go to library and they start learning. In fact, educational institutes should not be populated by students. Libraries should be populated by students. Classrooms can be empty, but libraries must be full because that is where they are learning. In the future years, maybe 10, 20, 30, 40 years, maybe four-walled classrooms may not exist because there is so much of knowledge in the digital space, so freely available, and communication is so rapid because of quantum computing, etc. You really don't need physical universities. Knowledge is available as digital knowledge. Whoever is interested will go and learn. Lot of learning will happen by the students. In the COVID, we have seen it. They have learned on their own. That's a good model to follow. I think those type of models will generate innovators. I think that's the answer to the question that you asked. Thank you.
All the relevant points with very striking and interesting answers.
Thank you.
Blatant one. Thank you for this wonderful session, sir. Before we could thank our panel members, there is one special message we would like to share with all our audience here, if that could be displayed on the screen. So this is a special mention, and this is certificate being which we have received from our esteemed Nitin Gadkar, Minister, Road Transport and Highway, Government of India. So he has congratulated us on the second IndiGlobal Education Festival, and he has just touched upon few things which I would like to read here for you all. The very purpose of introduction of development in pedagogy, digital transformation, trends and technology interventions, employability skills, human resources, job opportunities, entrepreneurship, innovations and challenges of NEP shows the motto behind this event. I congratulate the organizers for taking initiative for event and wish them success. I appeal all those related with the education sector to be a part of the same in large numbers, get acquainted with the modern trends in the sector of education and apply the same in their educational institutions so that the future generations get prepared to cope up with the challenges. So this is a message which has been shared by our very esteemed Nitin Gadkar. I would like a huge round of applause for our team here. Yeah, so thank you. Moving ahead, I would like to call upon our program chair, Sri Naveen Mittal sir, onto the stage. If we can just share a small token of appreciation to our panel members here who have given us such lovely insights and striking answers in this panel discussion. So I would like to call upon our very own Professor B.J. Rao, Vice Chancellor, University of Hyderabad, who has very well moderated this session. Can I hear some applauses for our speakers here, please? Can I now call upon Shri Shrikant Sinha, CEO, Telangana Academy for Skill and Knowledge. Can I also call upon Dr. S. Srikanta Swamy, Senior Consultant and Expert, National Assessment and Accreditation Council. Can I hear a huge round of applause for all our speakers here on the stage, please? Panel members, please come forward for a group picture with sir.